What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we're going to be replacing the rear bushings on the leaf springs of this 2002 Club Car DS. Now, if this is your first time viewing my channel or this build, this little club car here came a long way. We've already replaced the front bushings. We've done a speedometer on it, battery monitoring system on it. It's got an aftermarket controller, lithium batteries. It's got a Plum quick motor. And before all of that, I couldn't really hear my bushings. They were very quiet, but now the golf cart will run around 30 miles per hour with these small tires on there, and the bushings are letting themselves know that, hey, they need to be replaced. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in today's video. Now, if your golf cart needs front bushings, or you want to see any of the other kind of stuff that we've been doing to this golf cart, I'll be sure to place links in the description below and at the end of this video on the screen. The bushing kit that we ordered for this golf cart here, it came with 12 bushings and 6 bushing sleeves. Now, the reason that the kit came with 12 bushings and 6 sleeves, you have one on the front of the leaf spring, one on the back of the leaf spring, and then you have one on the frame rail, exactly where the shackle goes. Now, so to get started, we need to go ahead and jack the golf cart all the way up in the air. I'm going to leave the tires on both sides. I'm going to jack it up by the axle. Now, once you have the golf cart jacked up by the axle, you're going to grab yourself some jack stands. When you're crawling up underneath the golf cart to place the jack stands, be sure to place them against the frame. You do not want to place them underneath a battery or underneath a gas tank, depending on whether you got an electric golf cart or a gas golf cart. You don't want to damage anything else while you're replacing one thing. Now, once you have the golf cart jacked up securely on jack stands, give it a good shove. Make sure it's not going to fall down. Next, you need to grab yourself your socket or a couple of wrenches, 9/16, and those right there will take off the nuts and the bolts from the front and the rear of the leaf spring and the shackle mount. So as an example, we're going to replace this right here bushing first. This has no bushing left in it. It's just a sleeve. No bushing left, it's just a sleeve, and you can tell it's pretty rusted. So the bolt is pretty rusted as well. If you plan on keeping this hardware, you can take this right here to a wire wheel, clean these right here up. If not, you can just replace them. So you see, replacing the bushing isn't that hard. Basically, there was no bushing left in this rear left bushing. Now, when you're going to replace the bushing, I went ahead and took my stock bolt. I put it on my bench grinder. It's got a wire wheel. It really cleaned it up. I cleaned the threads up as well, so it's going to go back on a little bit easier. It's going to look better as well. Another thing to do is when you're placing these bushings together, the sleeve goes in one side of the bushing. If you put it in dry, it's a little bit harder, but if you use some WD-40, it makes the job a lot easier. Now, I like to use some WD-40 to get this bushing to slide into the leaf spring to mate with the sleeve. And if you have a quick grip or a compression grip type wood clamp laying around, these work great for mating the bushings together. Once you have the bushings together, you can go ahead and place it back in the original spot here. Once you do that, the bolt is going back in. Go ahead and screw the nut on and you're done. This right here is the frame bushing spot for the shackle mount. As you can tell here, this one is completely worn. If you're asking yourself how to replace it, well, check this out. You got a nut here, you got a bolt on the other side. What's going to happen with the bolt once you get the nut off is going to interfere with the body itself, so you almost have to remove the body in order to access this right here. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and loosen this right here shackle mount up, get the nut off of here as well. Show you what I'm going to do with the bushing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all of these Christmas tree tabs. It's just a plastic tab. There's going to be 5 across the top, 4 across the bottom, so we can remove this tray. I'm just using a flathead screwdriver, stick down in here to remove it. If you have a door panel removal tool, that'll be a lot better, probably a lot easier as well, and one made of plastic. So if you have a paint job on your golf cart, you won't damage it. If you do have a paint job and you don't have those special tools, maybe get you some electrical tape, tape this right here stuff up with, get you a cloth to pry against the body. Next, I'm going to line up a hole saw, and I'm going to drill a hole right here in each corner. And if you're doing this, make sure that your hole is going to be behind the black baggage tray area that we just removed. So once you put it back in, you won't ever see the hole. My hole is now removed. As you can see, you can access this bolt right here pretty easily. There you go. I just put it on the grinder and I cut a chamfer, as you can tell there. This should help it slide through the frame rail and the hole a little bit easier. I'm going to put a little bit of WD-40 also on this sleeve. Once we go and get it in place, set it there, and next time I grab an extension here to try to knock it into place. Not sure if you can see in there, but it's already seated up against the frame. Now I went ahead and I grabbed myself a washer. And I'm going to put the washer on the bolt and slide the bolt back in, and I'm going to tighten the nut back down. The reason I'm doing it this right here way is to try to compress both of the bushings into the frame of the golf cart. Now, by doing so, once we get them in there, then hopefully we can remove them. I can put the outside shackle on and we can finish this install. Now we have it on enough, we can go ahead and tighten this shackle and this job will be complete. All right, the next one we need to replace is the front of the leaf spring here. Same thing, 9/16 wrenches for the hardware there as well. Pretty simple. So I'm gonna loosen the shocks up here. I think it's gonna take a 9/16 to remove that nut as well. And we should see the front start dropping as we get the shocks a little bit loose. There's one shock, and it's already loose. As you can tell, the front left spring has dropped out of the hanger. Now I'm going to replace this one first, and after we replace this one, I'll put it back into place, put the shock back on, tighten it up, and repeat the same process for the passenger side. So I measured beforehand, but I didn't get it on camera. Before we were at 20 inches from the ground to the bottom of the wheel well here. Let's see if we gained any clearance by adding bushings, and we did. So we gained a little over 5/8 of an inch is what it looks like here. So it's 20 and 5/8 now instead of 20 inches. So it's pretty good. We gained a little bit. It's not going to be as noisy when we're riding, and it shouldn't shift or clank around any. This job is done. All right, guys, so that pretty much wraps it up on the DS rear bushing kit install. There's 6 different locations. 2 on the front leaf springs weren't bad. A little bit of patience is needed. On the rear leaf springs, those were cake work. But on the frame bushings that you had to drill out them 2 portions of the body, that's how I did it. If you have a better way of doing it, Please drop that in the comments below. I like to hear that way. Maybe next time I'll try it that way, other than removing the body. I'm not going to do that. Yep, so if this video has helped you out, drop a like. If you don't like this video, give me a dislike, because believe it or not, dislikes also count and help my ratings go up, so I appreciate everyone who does that as well. Share this with a friend, subscribe if you haven't, and until next time, we'll see y'all later.